Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dialar's Tactics. In this deep dive, I'm going to do my best to try to fully explain Lancelot. I don't use him all that much, and I'm not a Lancelot expert, but I think I know him well enough that I can try to walk you through some recommendations on this guy's kit. All right, Lancelot, let's start with his passives. So, passive number 1, Presaged Rainstorm. So, when using skill 3, you're going to change the weather to rain. You're going to change the weather to rain. Why? What do you get when it's rain? Heroes that prefer rain will receive environmental effects. Okay, what are they? 100% chance to gain damage dealt increase 2, which is a good buff. So 40% more damage for the rest of the battle as long as the weather is rain. So this can be changed. Now, keep in mind the majority of heroes, like say a Turin, she's going to change it to night, but you can still be night and rain. So you can be like day and heat. Merlin changes it to day. Morgan changes it to night. Gawain turns it to day and heat. Turin turns it to night. So rain, though, is a sub-weather effect. So it's not a diurnal effect. It's a weather effect. So you know, if there's a good chance once you change it to rain, it'll stay rain. So 100% chance to gain that damage dealt increase 2 for the whole battle if it stays rain. 100% chance to remove all the debuffs from himself when he uses that first S3. So available use is 2. So if someone does change it off of rain, he can change it back. 100% chance to gain damage taken decrease from 2 for the rest of the battle as long as it's rain. So quite a good passive. So as soon as he uses that S3, which you're probably going to want to use the majority of the time, that's his main skill, he will change it to wet to rain and he'll gain all these buffs. Increased damage, good. Decreased damage taken, good. Cleanse, good. Great, cool, awesome. Love to see it. Passive number 2, the Lake's Grace. Because if you didn't know, I do believe in lore, Lancelot is the Lady of the Lake's adopted son. Lake's Grace. When hit while the weather is rain. While the weather is rain. 100% chance to gain a shield equal to 15% of his max HP for 3 turns, which 3 turns is a long time in this game. 100% chance to gain a recovery over time for 3 turns, so he's going to heal himself. 100% chance to inflict lightning strike. This does come from his chivalries on each enemy, all the enemies, for 1 turn. So a good chance when hit, just when hit. So if hit, this lightning strike, damage taken per turn, -5%. Damage taken per turn. So is that actually a buff? Target's crit rate drops by 5%. Damage taken per turn. Sounds like a buff. So if hit, their damage taken per turn is -5. Usually you don't see -5. You see this up arrow or down arrow. That's interesting. So he is going to apply that when hit to the whole enemies, or the whole enemy side of the battlefield. And his P4, Knight of the Lakes challenge, passive, 3-turn cooldown, when attacking while weather is rain. 100% chance to inflict dot taken increase 1 on the selected target for 3 turns. So since he is a dot hero, this is nice. Dot taken increase, you're going to have an extra 20% chance to be inflicted by a dot, or the enemy will be, which is great. So you can kind of rely a little bit less on that effect accuracy. And this actually drops to a 2-turn cooldown when it's maxed. So let's start looking at his relics now. So he comes in fire. But I'm on the lookout for this ice one. His ice one is better. But why? So let's just start with his S3. Since, you know, you're going to want to kick off with S3 to get those, to change the weather effect to gain all those buffs for the rest of the battle. His S3 is attack all enemies 2 times. So wham, wham. You know, nothing crazy for a multiplier. 82% attack plus 3% max HP. But you can get this up to a 90%. 90% chance for each hit to inflict burn, which is a dot, for 1 turn. So you can get this up a little close to 100. So 90, plus 14, so 96. It's not great attack multipliers, but keep in mind he is a control unit. He's not an attacker. But he's going to apply these dots. So he's a dot inflicting hero. Now, if we look at his frost is more of a PvP weapon. So again, attack all enemies. Total damage, nothing great. Higher multiplier for attack, that's for sure. But you can get this up to a 55% chance, so just greater than a coin flip. Instead of afflicting your opponent or your enemies with a dot, you're going to crowd control them. You're going to freeze them for one turn, which is great. It causes your enemy to miss a turn. So the Ice Relic, hands down, PvP. PvP, right? PvP. That's all you got to say. Wind. What does his wind do? Haven't looked at his wind much. Attack all enemies. Again, this is going to be a what? 33. So this is going to be 101. So all of the damage multipliers are all similar around that 90 to 100% or 100% of attack range. But this one's going to give you a 70% chance when max to inflict confusion for one turn. So now you're not going to freeze them and cause them to miss a turn. You're going to apply confusion on them, and they're going to attack themselves. So again, PvP. I would argue that I would prefer confusion, probably wind for PvP, because why just freeze them when I can make them do damage? So yeah, wind is probably ideal PvP. If you want some crowd control, right? Because Merlin's also a crowd control unit. If you really want the crowd control, then maybe freeze might be better. Because remember, crowd control, something like that will also interrupt charge effects. So that's just the S3. Now let's look at his S2. This is a stun. So very, very straightforward. Attack one enemy. Again, not that great of an attack multiplier. 80%, you get this up to a 90% chance to inflict stun for one turn. Stun, almost 100% chance. That's good. Not great, but that's good. This one, you can get this up to a 90% chance to inflict chill, which chill is a dot. It lowers the attack speed of the units, and they take a little bit of dot damage of max HP each turn. Not great, right? Like, this is supposed to be more of a PvP, and now you're putting a dot on them. You would think that if this was a stun, I think that it would have been better for this to have the chill on it, even though it's fire, doesn't make sense, and for this to have the stun on that S2. Wind. Again, a dot again. So you're getting the CC abilities or effects from the S3s, but for frost and wind, now you're applying dots on your S2, whereas the fire had a control effect on its S2. And then the S1, attack one enemy 3 times, a 50% chance for the last hit to inflict burn for one turn. So that's a dot. 50% chance to inflict chill, which is a dot. 50% chance to inflict bleed, which is a dot. So the S1s are very, very similar. It's really, you're going to get your fire. Fire is going to be useful. Lance has a speed lead, and this is a speed lead that is in all battles. So does have a very, very good leader ability. You are going to want basically fire for PvE, maybe frost for PvE with the control effect, but the frost and the wind, in my opinion, are much more tailor suited to PvP. So that is kind of how the breakdown on the relics. Not a great variety across all of them, but variety enough to discuss. Let's go straight to his chivalries before we discuss gear. You can see I don't have my Lancelot that well built out. C1, which I'm clicking on, you can't see, is additional skill effect for that P1. This is where you're going to get the cleanse for the debuff and the 100% chance to gain that damage taken decrease, which was the last part of that P1 ability. Not game changing because you're still getting that damage up, or damage, I think it's damage up 2 or damage increase 2, just from its base setting. Effect accuracy, effect resistance, nothing major, but still good. He's going to want to land those dots. This is his P2, I do believe. P2 or his P3. His C3, this is what's going to give you that lightning strike ability that we discussed in his passives. Every time he gets hit. Was it gets hit? Yeah, it was his P2. Yeah, when rain, then you're going to get that lightning strike ability on the enemies. Additional skill effect for Knights of the Lake Challenge, this is his S or his P3, his third passive. 100% chance to increase the duration of dots on target for 1 turn. That is actually quite nice. When attacking while weather is rain. Oh, lost him. Lost him. There we go. That is a very nice chivalry. Since he's a dot hero, the ability to extend those dots and keep stacking them up more is very, very nice, actually. That is a nice chivalry for old Lancelot. Attack speed on his C5 and attack, which is kind of nice. Although, keep in mind, he's a controller unit. He's not hitting that hard. Defense HP. And then when this is his C8. When attempting to inflict a dot, 100% chance to inflict a lightning strike on selected target for 1 turn. So another case of, or another way to inflict that lightning strike. So now, when attempting to inflict a dot, which he can do on his S2s in Frost and Wind, or his S3 in Fire, and all of his S1s, every time he tries to inflict a dot, he's going to apply this lightning strike for 1 turn. If you need a refresher, damage per turn. So damage per turn, 5%. That's actually good. That's basically a dot in of itself. So that's what it is. I got a little confused. It's just another dot. And lower crit rate by 5%. So a little bit of mitigation on the opponent's side. Not game breaking by any means, but decent. If anything, I would say get him up to C4. You could run him for everything you want to run him for. And then HP and defense. So that's Lancelot's chivalries. Let's talk about gearing. Is this the correct way? I think so, but I'm not sure. So since you want to prioritize using his S3, that is a high vigor cost ability or skill, you're probably going to want to run him in a vigor set. You know, he's a control unit. He's not an attacker. You don't need the attack. So he's all about landing those dots, you know. And keep in mind, you stack up 2 dots on an enemy or more, that's going to be a 10% HP of that enemy's health bar just chunked off, just gone. So you don't really have to worry about attack. That dot damage scales with the boss, right? Higher the HP, more damage. So this guy's a dot machine. That's why I think vigor and accuracy is how you want to go. So what do I recommend running him in? Well, effect accuracy, neck. I do kind of, he is still a damaging unit. I would say crit rate on his earrings, although not necessary, because you're not going to get him up that high crit rate. You see mine is at 52%. 52% coin flip. And that's with 26% of that coming from his earrings. I don't think you should need to prioritize this. I think you could run him with, say, HP percentage, and you'd be fine as well. Keep him alive longer, chunking out those dots. Crit rate, just, I had this piece lying around. I thought it was good. It's got HP on there. It's got attack. Why not? So I would say 50-50 chance. HP percent. Crit rate is okay. Not crit damage, though. And then you want an attack speed ring. You want a effect accuracy belt. You want an attack speed orb. Because remember, with landing negative status effects like dots, you can miss the physical hit, but you can still land the dot. So that's why I'm not saying hit accuracy on the orb and attack speed, because the more turns you get, the faster you go, the more chance you can apply the dots. You're not relying on this guy as a physical damage dealer. So attack speed orb all the way. And then on this one, on the banner, what would we want to run on the banner? My gut tells me that I'm probably going to go with crit damage or crit rate. Why? Because he's already 55%. I can get a little bit more. Attack, no. Pierce, he's not doing a whole lot of damage, so Pierce is not really necessary. Endurance, maybe. That's, what is endurance? That is basically anti-Pierce, I do believe. Attack, Pierce, HP. You can kind of do what you want. If you're going to run an HP earrings, then maybe you want to run defense, HP, endurance banner. With me though, running a crit rate banner, I obviously going to want to run a crit rate banner. Or since I have crit rate earrings, I want to run a crit rate banner just to get him up critting each time. But yes, so that was effect accuracy, neck, crit rate, or HP on the earrings, but then you're going to want to run crit rate or like an HP or an attack or an endurance or something on the banner. Those two are going to kind of be tied to each other. Attack speed ring, attack speed orb. Obviously, since he's a dot unit, your priorities for gearing him is going to be, for substats, is going to be effect accuracy, attack speed, then attack percentage, HP percentage, crit rate, right? If you want to run him to crit every time, then crit rate's going to bump up that priority, but he gets attack multipliers from attack and HP percentages, but really effect accuracy and attack speed are going to be your 1, 2 for your go for substats. Now, for your trinkets, obviously he's a dot hero. You're going to want to run this corrosion set on your trinkets. Why? Because after inflicting a dot, inflict a random dot on a target for 2 turns. Obviously cooldown 3 turns, but that's just more dots. And then with Lancelot, you're going to be able to extend those dots with his C5. So that's basically Lancelot in a nutshell. Passives, relics, gearing. Kind of easy, right? He's kind of a one-trick pony. But he can do, like I said, the dot damage can do a lot of damage. Now, where are you going to use old Lancelot? Where are you going to use Lancelot? Well, he is a steed, right? He is a steed guy. So, since he's got that speed lead, you can use him anywhere. So, you see, I run him on this team as my leader. So, let's just go do a battle. You see, I have no healers on this team. Actually, my healer is actually Merlin. So, skill order, you see, this is how I usually run Lancelot. Now, obviously, remember in Arena, you're still going to prioritize his S3 for PvP, but if you have him, only his Flame Relic, and you still want to use that his Flame Relic in PvP, remember that he does have a stun on that S2, so for Arena, you're probably going to want to do something like this, if you have Flame. If you don't have Flame, and you're running the other ones, which are better for PvP, you'll probably run it like this, because his S2 is going to do a dot, not as effective. So this is kind of how I got this going. To do this favor dungeon, I run Merlin's S2, because that's going to let me heal my allies. So let's just speed this up. This is going to be the Lancelot show, so wham, wham, you see 2 dots, 2 dots, 3 dots on this guy. So we do have that counter attack state from Boars. Boom, boom. Cormac doing Cormac things. Whoa, lost the sound. There we go. Got the sound back. But look at all these dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of dots. And if they had gotten another turn, dots might have killed them. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, Merlin. Oh, that's too bad. Boom, boom. We got 2 dots up on the boss. So that's going to be 10% damage. Boom, boom. 4 dots. More dots. Left side. So if you guys don't know the Fire Merlin trick, basically what that's doing is putting up this Phoenix Ashes. It's going to give, or that's going to heal my allies and give them attack gauge increase when they hit the boss. Ooh, that's that attack. That's that counter attack coming from Boars. Really nice. Really nice. Really nice. So you see he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 dots up on him. We're going to look at the battle stats when this is over, and you can kind of get a gauge of what he did. So we had a lot of dots on there, but they all just kind of fell off right there. But you see, just with the heals from Merlin, we're keeping everybody quite healthy on this team. Boom, boom. Now, the weather. The weather is not raining. Because I think Merlin canceled the rain. Or is there just no? I can't see any weather effects going on right now. Oh, yes, we are sun only. So Merlin over here. Oh, there's the rain. All right, so now he just switched it back to rain. Just as the boss dies. So let's check out these battle stats. So you see, I'm going to move my head down here. Damage dealt, damage taken. So, Lancelot, not a whole lot of damage. But, let's see if we can't see. Debuffs, lots of debuffs. He got 1 kill. You know, we can't really parse his his dot damage from this. Although I do believe that the dot damage is taken into account when you see these damage numbers. Skills used, yeah, obviously that one. So, but if we look at overall stats, you know, Cormac's obviously going to be a big damage dealer. Nothing major for damage dealer, but this is just one place you're going to use old Lancelot. Just one. The other place you're going to use him, or you can use him, is I finally started using him in my Gorgos team. Now, normally, and even in the videos that I've shown, I used to run Anguish Lead here. Anguish Lead is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Why? Because if you run Anguish, then you're going to get all the dots that Anguish brings. And he's got a leader in here. In Burning Lands, you get that attack speed 20%. But you're also getting that attack speed 20% from Lancelot. Now, Lancelot, you know, he's going to have the ability, which I don't have, because I don't have him C4, to extend dots on the target. But Rosie can extend dots. So you don't have to use Lancelot here. You can use Anguish and be just perfectly fine. But if we want to use him here, we can. So, boom, boom, boom. Want you in my room. Dots. Rosie doing dots. And then obviously DeJared, he's the king of this battle. And I am running Lancelot using prioritizing his S3s here as well. Whoa, whoa, target the body, guys. Old Rosie, she's putting all these dots up on the arms. Alright, so we're going to have to take an extra turn here. Thanks, Rosie. Thank you. So let's click on this little drop-down box. You can see burns come from Lance, and the bleeds come from Rosie's. Now, Rosie can also extend dot durations on the enemies. So both of those two have that ability. And we're done. And it looks like Lancelot, I think, might have got the most damage. By far. 51% versus 41%. And Rosie is the bleed queen. So, you know, that says a lot right there. Because when I ran my Anguish, Rosie would always be the highest damage dealer. So, go Lance. So that's one place you can use him. As we were talking about his speed lead, that makes him an ideal candidate for PvP. Now, I know there's better speed. There's a bunch more speed leads in PvP than Lancelot. And no one really runs Lancelot lead for speed anymore, given that we've got Cormac and we now have Ceres, who is a PvP queen. But the thing is Cormac's speed lead, if I see any speed leads in clan versus clan, I'm going to have to laugh at you, because Lancelot is the only universal speed lead. So people like Anguish, people like Rosie, people like Cormac, who people can run in PvP for that speed lead, those leads are turned off for Clan Wars. The only speed leads you have for Clan Wars is Ceres and Lancelot. That's it for now at the time of this recording. So Lancelot will be used a lot in Clan v Clan. Obviously, for Arena, again, you're going to want to use Ice or Wind, right? For that CC ability. Dots, they're nice, but, you know, it's not going to really matter in a fight that's that short and condensed with heroes that don't have that much health. That's more of a boss thing, right? Dots are more for bosses. Other places you're going to use him is Forbidden Dungeon. He is going to be very, very, very useful for floor 97. Does this show mine? No, I can't kind of show you. But this is the dot fight. I have a video out on this recently. You can go and look for it. This is a place where you're going to run Lancelot. You are just going to. Do you have to? No. You can run just one. Like I've gotten by with just one dotter, but you need a dot hero for this fight. And running Lance and Rosie together makes this fight easy sauce. Easy sauce. Makes it cake. So he's useful there. So you see Lancelot, he's got a lot of places where he can and should be used. So he is by far not a bad hero. He's very good at what he does. I would recommend going and checking out Loki Magic's video. He has a video where he uses just Rosie and Lancelot to clear all of the PvE content in the game. I want to show you guys something that they just added in game. This trophy system. Check this out. Let's go to Gorgos. Look at that. The best time, number 1 in the game, is using Lancelot to beat it in 3 turns. Why? I bet you that he or she has just a slow as possible Lancelot. So then every time someone hits him, he's loading him up with those lightning strikes. Loading him. Just going really slow because you see it's still a minute-long fight. But 3 turns. I bet you that's the trick there. So there you go. Lancelot is obviously the king. The undisputed king of Gorgos. I thought I'd just slip that one in there for you guys if you didn't know that existed. So yeah, he's not bad. So tell me your thoughts on Lancelot, who is, other than King Arthur, Lancelot and Guinevere are the most recognizable names in King Arthur or Arthurian lore. Arthurian lore, did I get that right? So let me know what you think about Lancelot down in the comment section, guys. Word of the day is going to be 2 words. More dots. More dots. Put that in the comment section below. I'll know you made it to the end of this video. I will thank you profusely. Check out all the links in the description. They give you good things. They take you good places. Thank you to all my CC supporters. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you in the next one. I think I just said that. Cheers. Peace. Bye-bye.